Hey everybody, so I know it's been a minute, lots going on in life, but I'm here today to share with you all of the books that I'm currently reading, a stack of amazing titles I need to make sure are on your TBR. So, without further ado, let's get started. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you doing today? As always, I hope you're happy, I hope you're healthy, I hope you're safe, and of course I hope you're reading an amazing book or two or three or four. I have to be honest with you, life has been a little bit rough. Work's been busy, but when you get older, your body decides to do some crazy things, which is fine. We're dealing with it, but that means I haven't been able to do many videos, but I have been able to read. And today I'm here to share with you what I'm reading right now that I am 100% sure you will want on your TBR. So without further ado, get out your pen, get out your paper, get out your Goodreads, however you keep track of your TBR. If you are so able, let's get these books from our local independent bookstore. It's that time of the year. This is where they make their money and they need us more than ever. Or if you're a library user, get your library to get you a copy as soon as possible. Most of these books are out except for the first one that doesn't actually come out until next year, but I am enjoying it so much I need to make sure that it's on your TBR. And that's Walk Softly on This Heart of Mine by Callie out from Doubleday, and it comes out March 18th of 2025. I know that seems like it's really far away, but it's really not. You know we'll be here before we know it. This is set in 1975 Austin. It's set in a little bar sort of on the outskirts of town that was, doing very well, but all of a sudden it starts to lose its clientele. People aren't coming in. So the owners, who are a husband and wife team, the husband goes out to find a new musical act to bring into the bar to see if they can rejuvenate, is that the right word? Rejuvenate, I think is the right word, their base, and also get new people to come in and experience the bar. They do find this band that does sort of like this bluesy country rock sort of thing, which is very different than what has been there before. They bring the band, the main singer and his wife and kid move into a house on the property, and this is the story of how this decision changes everybody's lives. And I don't know where it's going, but what I will tell you is this. The writing is phenomenal. The way that she describes Texas reminds me a lot of how Cormac McCarthy describes Texas in those sort of stark terms. They're very clear, but very short, pointed sentences. I think it's just beautiful. The characters are really engaging, some goofy ones, some very real aspects to them. They're just real people. I am really loving this. So, and I believe this is her debut novel, so I want to make sure actually. Okay, yeah, I was just making sure I was getting my pronouns right. Queer writer, she pronoun according to the back of the book. And I'm really excited to see where this one goes. So that's Walk Softly on This Heart of Mine by Callie out from Doubleday, again in March of 2025. So let's pre-order that for her and for Doubleday. Okay, the next two books I actually have just recently finished, and they're for my fantasy readers, or fantasy slash romance kind of readers. The first one I want to tell you about is Sorcery and Small Magics by, and I'm not exactly sure how to say this name, Maiga, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, Doocy. This is out from Orbit, and this book was just exactly what I needed when I read it. So it's a campus sort of student fantasy enemies turned lovers sort of trope thing, and it was brilliant. So at the heart of this is our main characters. They're two kids in school together, and they are training to eventually join like the magic military, but they've never gotten along. One is a person who writes spells, and the other one is a person who casts spells. Well, because of a mistake, a spell is cast, and one of them becomes sort of unable to stay away from and has to listen to and obey everything the other says. And as you can imagine, that has that sort of comedy, but also we don't like each other, we don't want this. So they go on an adventure to try to get the spell lifted. And then, of course, relationships change. We learn a lot about the world and the magical beings and all of that. Absolutely loved it. It's the first in a series. I can't wait to see where it goes next. That's Sorcery and Small Magics. And it's by Maiga, last name Dooce. So I'm going to need some help with that. If you know how to pronounce it so I can say it right next time, put it in the comments down below. But I cannot wait to see where that one goes. The next is a short novella by one of my favorite fantasy writers right now. And this is The City of Glass by Nghi, and this is out from TORDOTCOM. This is, if you are a fan of, say, Invisible Cities by Calvino, this book is very much sort of in that vein. It reads like that. But this is the story of a small town city that is sort of, I'm going to put in quotation marks, blessed by a demon. A demon has sort of taken over ownership of it. She uses her powers to sort of keep the liveliness. She's really in love with this city and the people in it. But one day, a group of angels come down and wipe this city out. Right before the angels are about to leave, she throws a curse at one of the angels, and things change. She stays around. She's going to rebuild the city that she's so in love with. We learn a lot about her history, how she wound up to be there. But then the angel comes back because this curse, or bit of herself really, that she's thrown into him, he can't be, his angel brethren will not allow him to stay with them. And it's about how their relationship changes. And over time, we see the people, the families, the generations that this woman, this demon affects, but also the relationship between the angel and the demon starts to change. I thought it was brilliant. I thought the writing was breathtaking. And for such a very straightforward story, it really does tackle some very, very tough topics. I thought it was amazing. I've read a lot of her books, and this is, I think, hands down my favorite. So that's The City in Glass by Nghi, out from TOR.com. Absolutely loved it. Okay, we're gonna go a little bit, it's still a little bit fantasy, sort of folklore-y, and I'm gonna tell you about The Bog Wife by Chronister, and this is out from our friends over at Counterpoint books. This is the story of a family who's, like, for generations have taken care of the cranberry bog. And this is because they have an agreement with the bog. Every generation, the patriarch sacrifices themselves to the bog, and the bog produces a bog wife who comes out of the bog. But what's happened with our current generation is the sacrifice is made and no bog wife has arisen. And we find out that the mother that had left earlier, they haven't really gotten over her, and something has happened and a chain of events is broken, and everything's gonna have to change, and these siblings are gonna have to work together, and they don't all get along. It's got a very, and I mean this in the, like, the style way, like a very Victorian feel to the writing, which I'm totally loving. I can't wait to see where this sort of, like, messy family dynamic goes. I love the folklore piece of it. So highly recommend The Bog Wife by Chronister, out from Counterpoint. Okay. Now, I don't know why I picked this book up. It's been on my shelf. It's one of those things that I bought in the middle of, I don't know, I just buy books, you know me. And I hadn't thought about it in a while, and then all of a sudden I picked it up, and I should have read it sooner because I'm absolutely loving it. And that's Matt Haig's Matt Haig's The Life Impossible. He wrote The Midnight Library. That's awful big on the front there. This is out from Viking here in the United States. So this is one of those things that I love. It's about an older woman. You know my thing. I love a woman in her 70s as a main character. Totally my vibe. And she has left a house in Ibiza from a woman that she met, like an old friend years and years ago, and she doesn't know why. And she's going to go there. And when she goes there and starts to figure it all out, she has to sort of tackle her own past. What I love about how this book starts is it starts as a letter between an old student of hers, she was a math teacher, who has written to her asking for advice, and she has written back with her story. And I love that. I love that setup. And I love the whole going back in time. I love sort of like this woman finding herself and her life in her 70s after really shutting herself off from everything else. So absolutely loving that. That's The Life Impossible by Matt Haig, out from Viking. The Midnight Library was his last book. It was very big, and that's why the title's so large on the cover. Last but not least is a book that is out from UnNamed Press. And I have to be honest with you, the author's very, very handsome face was the reason I picked it up. But I'm absolutely loving it. And that is Blue Graffiti by Calahan, Skogman, Shogman. This is again out from UnNamed Press. And this is these little towns, these books about these little towns. I'm just loving them. Our main character has inherited this home from his parents. He lives in Jackson, I think? Johnston, Wisconsin, I believe. And a little tiny town, very happy. All of his friends are there. The local bar is there. That's where his life is. And one day a woman walks into his local bar and changes everything. And I started reading this book not knowing what to expect. And this is it gave me very much like Ernest Hemingway vibes in the writing style, but I was totally absorbed just in the pages about the bar. I was just totally like, I could see this place. It was so cinematic. So absolutely in love so far with Blue Graffiti by Calahan, Skogman, out from UnNamed Press. Okay, so that's a little stack of books. That's what, 6 books there? I think that's a good variety of different things that I'm currently reading. And I think all of them 100% belong on your TBR. What are you reading? Tell me in the comments below. I want to hear everything about it. As always, if you are a return subscriber, I couldn't do this without you. Thanks for sticking with me. Sorry for the delays, but sometimes life just gets in the way. If you are a new subscriber, I hope you pick up all of these books, watch some old videos, and I can inspire you on something to read. And as always, I encourage you to read globally, shop locally, and until next time, I wish you happy reading. Bye, everyone.